Welcome to this example. We're going to be taking a look at an inequality example, one where our variables and our total are not the same thing. And so we're going to have to do a little bit of multiplying. And I'm hoping that this example is going to help you kind of visualize what that looks like. So the example that we have here is that Asher is a food truck owner and needs to sell at least $550 worth of burgers and hot dogs to break even each day. Now, you'll notice that wording there. It says at least. That means that he could sell more, but he doesn't want to sell less. So we're going to be looking at an inequality because we have that wording there of at least. Okay, it's not equal to, it's at least. Now, a burger costs $4.50 and a hot dog is $3. Write an inequality to represent Asher's sales. All right. Now, I have a list of things to do for this scenario here. Number one, we need to define the variables. Number two, we need to write an equation or inequality, in this case, inequality, for the context. And number three, we need to determine the domain and range of the scenario. Okay. And then we can also give a solution to the scenario. In my case, I'm going to give you a graph of the solution to give you what it looks like. So let's start by defining our variables. The two things that we are looking at that are variable in this case here that we don't know is we don't know how many hot dogs he's going to sell and how many burgers he's going to sell. Oop, I said that in the opposite way. That's okay. So we're going to say that X is the number of burgers that he sold and Y is the number of hot dogs that he has sold. So that is what we are defining our variables to be, because those are the things we don't know. Okay. Now, with this case here, we are given the total amount of money that he needs to make. Okay, so that money, but we're using the number of things sold to figure out that total amount of money. What we need to do in this case here is we need to figure out the amount of money made on burgers and the amount of money made on hot dogs. And to do that, we have to multiply the number of burgers sold, that's our X, and we're not changing our X and Y here. We need to multiply the number of burgers he sells by $4.50, and the number of hot dogs he sells by $3. And this is a little bit of what it's going to look like. 4.5x, so we're multiplying the number of burgers by 4.5, and then we're adding 3 times the number of hot dogs sold because we're trying to find out the amount of money made by hot dogs. And when we combine those two, it needs to be greater than or equal to 550. Okay, so it's representing that we have an amount of money that is being made, and then we have a limitation as to how much he needs to make to break even. Okay, so this situation is representing his amount of sales and if he's breaking even or not. Okay, hopefully he is. Now, what is our domain and range? So the domain, because we're dealing with how many things sold and we sell them as whole numbers, we're dealing with only whole numbers, and range is going to be the exact same thing. Now, this is what our graph is going to look like, and so therefore every number above or in that shaded region is going to represent or every point in there, as long as they're whole numbers, is going to represent a solution to this situation. Okay. Now you'll notice that our intercepts there are decimal numbers, and that's okay. We'd have to go up to get an actual solution, like 0,184. So he would have to sell 184 hot dogs to break even, or he'd have to sell 123 hamburgers to break even without selling any of the others. Again, it can be a combination of the two of them, and that would also give a solution as well. All right, hope this helped you and that you are able to work through the questions that are like this again.